Hey everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review, and today's review is in association with JediInsider.com, your #1 news source for everything Star Wars. And today we're going to take a look at Hasbro's new Star Wars The Black Series 6-inch Anakin Skywalker figure. This figure comes packaged in your standardized Black Series packaging from the first year, so basically it's the black box window packaging with the orange highlights. You've got the Death Star lighting in the background. The figure clearly displayed in the window box packaging. You've got the Star Wars The Black Series logo up at the top with a little medallion image of the character, in this case Anakin Skywalker. And then it tells us that this is figure number 12 in the first series, or first year basically. So the next wave of Black Series figures will start coming in the newer packaging with the blue highlights. They'll start over with the numbering, so for the second year basically the figures will start at #1 again. But this is figure 12 in the first year of Black Series figures. Then on the back of the packaging we have a little brief bio for Anakin, as well as an image from Revenge of the Sith of Anakin and Obi-Wan fighting on the planet of Mustafar. And again with the orange highlights and the Star Wars logo up at the top and everything. Okay, so let's get this figure open and take a look at what's inside. So here's a look at the figure outside of the packaging. Now this figure is based on the Anakin Skywalker as he appeared in Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. He's got the long hair, he's got the scar over his eye that he got from Episode 2. Now, I don't know if this is actually film accurate, I don't recall, but there's also looks like a little scar that they put on his on the left side of his face as well. Again, I don't recall him having a scar on the left side of his face, but you can see here on the head sculpt looks like a little indentation of a scar of some type. Now again, maybe that's just an error or something, because again I don't remember that in the movie, but just wanted to point that out. Now this figure does come with two alternate heads. It comes with this head, which is the basic Anakin Skywalker head, and then it comes with a more evil Darth Vader head sculpt, you know, after he's turned to the dark side. He's got like red eyes, and his hair is a little more frizzy, sweaty looking, I guess, because I guess this is supposed to be him on the planet, hot planet of Mustafar. Now I will say that I don't think the likeness on either head sculpt is terribly accurate to the actor's likeness. I really don't see Hayden Christensen too much in this face sculpt. I mean, it's not horrible looking, but it just doesn't strike me as Hayden Christensen too much. Out of the two heads, I do like the Darth Vader head a little bit more. Not that it looks any more like Hayden Christensen, but I think that head sculpt looks better on the figure. The figure comes decked out in his Jedi robes. He's got the black vest. He's got the belt with a sculpted pouch on it. He's got a place to hold his lightsaber hilt. Like with the Obi-Wan figure, it's attached with it's got a hole on his belt and a little peg on his lightsaber that fits in the hole. So just like the 3¼ inch version, he holds his lightsaber the same way, and then you just pop it in. He's also got some other things, like, I don't know what these things that they have, I don't know if they're like energy cells for the lightsaber or something, but they're sculpted on the belt, and then some more pouches on the back. Then for the bottom part of his tunic, it's you know, like with the Obi-Wan figure, it's a mixture of a soft good cloth on the side, and then a more leathery type material for the front flaps. And then underneath is just the sculpted plastic. And then he's got his boots sculpt, you know, some nice detail on the boots, and he's got the glove on the one hand with the belts. So a lot of nice detail on the figure. Some nice wash work on the hair, on the head sculpt, which looks pretty good. So other than the likeness, in my opinion, is not 100% accurate to Hayden Christensen, I think the figure for the most part looks pretty good. If you're a fan of Anakin Skywalker, then I think you'll be for the most part happy with this figure. Okay, so for accessories, this figure comes with 2 heads, as I mentioned before. He's got the regular Anakin Skywalker head, and then you can just pop it off, and the head's attached with just a ball joint, and then you can pop on the alternate Darth Vader head, you know, after Anakin has turned to the dark side. And as I mentioned before, this head, you know, he's got the red eyes, a more menacing look on his face. His hair is a little more frazzled, just has a more evil kind of look as he's, you know, as I said, turned to the dark side. The other accessory that the figure comes with is his lightsaber, which, just like with all the other figures, it has the blade and the detachable hilt, and the hilt, just as I mentioned before, just plugs into his belt. Real simple, like just like with the 3 1/4 inch version or the Obi-Wan figure that they previously released. Now, one thing I do want to just point out about the lightsaber hilts that I thought was interesting, I've never really thought about it before, honestly, but was looking at the lightsaber hilt that comes with the Bespin Luke Skywalker and the one that comes with Anakin. Now, obviously, in the movies, there's pretty much supposed to be the same lightsaber hilt, since Luke inherits his father's lightsaber that Obi-Wan retrieved. But there are some differences between the two. They're not exactly the same. Now, for one, obviously, Luke's has got the hook on the bottom to hook onto his belt, whereas Anakin's has the peg. But then, like, the power switch is a little bit different. Anakin's is colored red and Luke's is colored gold. That's probably the biggest difference between the two. And then the lighting and just the little, like, plastic pieces at the end are a little different. So I don't know how movie accurate either one is. Honestly, I haven't looked at them that closely, but I just wanted to point out there were some minor differences between the two hilts, even though technically they're supposed to be the same lightsaber. Oh, and one last thing that I'm disappointed was not included with this figure is that they did not include any kind of soft goods cloak and hood, you know, like he wore when he went to the Jedi Temple to kill the younglings. I think that is an essential part of the look for the Darth Vader portion of the figure to go along with the alternate head, and so I was a little disappointed they did not include that with this figure. Now, for scale-wise, this figure stands at just over 6 inches tall, and he is a little bit taller than the Obi-Wan Kenobi figure that they released previously. So scale seems to be pretty good. And then just for another size comparison, here he is next to his future son, Luke Skywalker, and you can see he's definitely significantly taller than Luke. Now, I know Luke is supposed to be on the short side, you know, he's awfully small for a stormtrooper and all, but you know, it's amazing how much taller Anakin looks next to Luke. And I assume that that's probably fairly film accurate, even though we've never really seen Hayden Christensen next to Mark Hamill. You know, we know Darth Vader himself was much taller than Luke. Articulation, it's pretty much on par with what you would expect from the line. The head's on a ball joint, which you can just pop off so you can interchange the heads. And there's a hinge on the neck, so he does have down movement. Doesn't have a whole lot of back movement, basically, because of the way the hair is sculpted. He can't really put his head back any, but he can look left and right without any problem. He's got, the arms are attached with your standard ball hinge joints. He's got good rotation. He does not have a bicep swivel. He does have a swivel at the elbow, and it's a single hinged elbow, so he can only bend his elbow about that much. But he can also bend it down if he really wanted to. And then they have the standard hinge joints, the up and down movement, so he can hold his lightsaber good. And he's got the rotation at the wrist. Now, I will say on this figure, both hands are kind of sculpted. They're sculpted so he can hold the lightsaber in either hand, which is good. But they've also, it looks like they've kind of sculpted the hands so it's almost like he's doing a choke pose as well. You know, the fingers are closed so that he can grasp the lightsaber, but it also kind of looks like he's reaching out to choke somebody, which is pretty you know, pretty cool, being that he is Darth Vader and all. He does have a midsection joint here at the waist, which has rotation. It seems to be attached with a ball joint, so he's got some up and down movement there. He's got rotation, can kind of pivot. The legs are, you know, your standard ball joints. However, because of the soft goods on the tunic, it does prohibit him from doing his legs out a whole lot, so he can't really do the splits. That's about as far out as you can get the legs. And it doesn't really prohibit him from getting his leg forward at all. And then with the way it's sculpted, you have to kind of do it out and back, but doesn't really have much back movement on the leg. No thigh swivel. Does have the double jointed knee, so he's got good bending at the knee. And then he's got the ankle pivots at the bottom. No swivel at the boot cuff or anything though, but he does have good ankle pivot. And then he's got the 2 peg holes at the bottom of his feet. And again, you can see there's some nice detail with the treads on the bottom of his boots as well. Okay, so that's my review. Overall, I think this is a fairly decent figure. My only complaints are that I think the likeness could be a little bit more accurate to Hayden Christensen. Again, the face sculpt's not horrible, but it really doesn't strike me as Hayden Christensen. So if you want to nitpick, you could definitely say Hasbro could do a better job of getting the actors' likenesses with these figures, especially the prequel ones. The only other complaint I have is that I would have liked to have seen this figure come with a cloak with hood, that, you know, a soft goods cloak and hood that he could wear. I think especially for the Darth Vader look portion of the figure with the Darth Vader head, I think that kind of being able to wear that hood is an essential part of the character's look. And so I'm a little disappointed we didn't get that. But otherwise, I think it's a solid figure. If you like the prequels, then I think you'll definitely want to pick this one up to go along with your Obi-Wan Kenobi. This figure, along with the Clone Trooper, are hitting shelves now, so if you want to pick them up, start looking or check your comic and specialty shops. They should be getting them too. So that's my review. I hope you enjoy it. Until next time, I'll check you later.